Okay, by popular request, we have here the weapons tier list for 2024, January 2024. So 32 weapons, 32 different weapons, I should say. I'm going to be doing my absolute best to rank these based on certain metrics. So it's going to be kind of in the way of like, you know, how worth it is it to buy it, to upgrade it? Does it have very many useful energy capacities? You know, some of them you only want to buy one of them, other ones you could buy multiple. So those are just a few of the metrics I'm just going to be going by, just to make that clear. We're going to go from left to right, top to bottom, I suppose, for the sake of argument. I have F added as a tier, which is like bottom of the bottom, but it's because we have quite a lot to go through here. So obviously S being like really good, definitely get this and upgrade it when you can, and F being like don't even think about purchasing it. So starting off with Arc Torrent. Definitely A. It's very, very solid. The thing about it, though, the reason it's not S, and a lot of people are going to disagree with me. They're going to be like, oh, it's definitely S. I'm sorry, but you don't have squad power of over 10,000. I can pretty much guarantee you. Nobody who's using Arc Torrent has like a fully maxed hanger, because when you fight fully maxed enemies, Arc Torrent is not the thing to use. It's sad to say, because it is a fun weapon, but it's just not. Autocannon. Clearly F. You get the 4s for free, those are fine. Obviously don't upgrade them, but the 2s are garbage. Don't even bother with those. So the 4s are fine though when you first start the game. Carbine. I'm actually going to put below autocannon. So like further to the left is better in this case, and then further to the right is worse. Carbine is so bad. It hits harder, obviously, because it's a legendary weapon, but it's so expensive and it's so awful that I'm actually, just because of its cost, I'm going to put it here. If it cost credits, I would say, yeah, fine. I'd actually probably put it like B if it cost credits, but it doesn't. It costs so many A coins that it's not even funny. You could buy like 3 epic mechs with that. Chain gun is similar to Carbine, I'll be honest with you, but I'm gonna give it a D instead of an F, because it is a bit better. It's got more DPS, it has a longer effective range, it doesn't lose damage over range like Carbine does, and the projectile speed's much higher. So at least you can hit targets at long range as well. So it's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but it is really bad. If you get it, then probably don't upgrade it. And if you can get it, then don't. Not if it's gonna cost you a bunch of A coins. Once again, if it was credits, it would be fine, but it's not credits. Cryo Javelin. Honestly, I'm gonna slap it an A, because it is free, and it's pretty good. The 6 specifically, maybe not so much, but the 12 is a thing now, and if you can get and upgrade the 12, that's actually pretty solid. I imagine it would be relatively similar to like Helix Track, and Helix Track's very good. Cryonades. I have not had the pleasure of using the 12 or 16, which I'm hoping will at some point be released soon. Hopefully at least this month. Like, come on. So yeah, kind of hard to get a read on it. I'm gonna slap it in B because I'm expecting it to be decent, but not the best. And yeah, I think I'll explain that a little bit more when I get to Nade Launcher. Disc Launcher is everyone's favorite weapon because it gives the illusion of requiring skill when it actually doesn't, but it definitely is worthy of the S rank anyway. Disruptor, I feel like, is one of those, as certain people would call it, hidden gems. And I'm not going to put it in S because it's not that good. But I'm actually going to put it in A. Probably above Cryo, but probably below Arc Torrent. EM rifles, definitely S. Probably, well, definitely below Disc Launcher there, because Disc Launcher is the most meta weapon in the game. So if you use it, no, you're not special. Ember Gun is incredible. That's definitely S tier. 1.5 second reload is just absurd, and it's got lots of damage output too. It suffers very slightly against Eclipse because it's not able to apply the overheat effect, but other than that, it can take out things really, really fast. Fragment Gun. Normally I'd put it in like C because it's rare, but I'm gonna go A. Above Disruptor because it's dirt cheap, dude. These things are dirt cheap, but they're so good. Actually, they're better than Arc Torrent. Better than Arc Torrent. Late game, when you have max stuff, this rare weapon is actually better than Arc Torrent. So like seriously, buy and upgrade these things. It's fantastic. It's actually crazy. The 12s specifically, don't bother getting the 14. I think the 14 costs 8 coins anyway. But yeah, on heavy mechs, it's not great. You want to put on something fast, like you put pretty much any close range weapon, obviously. Plasma Cannon. It's Fusion Cannon, motherfucker. It's really bad, obviously. I'm gonna put it C though, above both of these, because at least it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg. It probably costs you more like, you know, just your hand or something like that. It's like a third of the price is what I'm getting at. It's still very bad though. But ultimately, like, if you want an assault weapon, I would say just buy Fusion Cannon. It's not available for in-game currency, I don't think, yet, but it will be, and it'll be the same cost as every epic item. But yeah, I'd say Fusion Cannon over Carbine all day long, because at least you're not spending an absolute fortune just to get it, and you're only sacrificing like a small amount of DPS. Probably you're only using it for achievements anyway, so like, go for it, man. Go for it. Gauss Rifle, I hear is very good in like early mid-game. So I'm gonna slap it C above Fusion Cannon. Graviton Beam. It does pain me. I want to put it in S. Actually, I will put it in S. It's going to be at like very bottom tier, because even though it is not something you see in most late game hangers for like PvP action, this is the #1 bot killing machine. Pretty much, it's pretty much no contest. This thing will kill bots faster than anything else in the entire game. It's crazy. Helix Rack. I would put above Graviton Beam. Very sad, because I do like my beams, and this has got to be the worst looking weapon in the game. I think it looks hideous. It's really bad, but oh well. I guess Yeah, very sad. But it is worse than Ember Gun, for sure. Pretty much any tier, like any stage of the game, you're going to get this kind of like guided rocket spam. That's everybody has already seen, like the javelin racks and stuff. You know how it is. It does not get better when you're maxed out. I'll just have you know that. Javelin rack in general, I'll probably put it right below Cryo Javs, just because, I mean, they're very similar. I think they have the same stats, except that Cryo Javelin just has the stasis effect. I think that's literally the only difference, if I'm not mistaken. Well, and the fact that it's an epic rather than a rare. Long arm.
Long arm.
Better than Gauss Rifle, I would say. And for the price as well, I think the 12... Is the 12A coins? I don't know. You could get at least like the 8 and the 10 for credits, I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna put it C, but above Gauss Rifle. Long arm was one of my favorite weapons back in the day. It's very sad that you can't really use it. Minigun. 100% S tier. 100% better than both of those weapons. Better than Ember Gun. Unfortunately not. But minigun's something that you don't see on a whole lot of late game hangers. But the thing is that it's crazy. It's got such high DPS. It's really good. People don't understand it. Especially in like control points. If you slap those on like an Eclipse or an Aegis, oh my goodness, that is some heavy damage. Missile rack, definitely. Honestly, I think I'm gonna have to put it S tier simply because I would probably have to say that it's better than Graviton Beam overall. So S tier's kind of filling up. I might have to drag some of these down into A if it gets too long, because I don't want to really fill this up. But, you know, it's okay to have a lot of S tier weapons. Like, there's no crime in that, obviously. But yeah, Missile Rack, very, very good. Storm Rack is better in some ways, but it's also worse in other ways. And I will get to that when I get to Storm Rack. Nade Launcher is one of those weapons that's really difficult to use, but it's very effective if you can use it well. Probably more effective than Arc Torrent, to be honest. And probably Fragment Gun too. Stop. It's not letting me. No. There. Okay. Well, that was weird. Yeah. So I put it top of A tier. I want to make a video. I'm still kind of in the process of making a video, but I have very high skill issue with this weapon. I don't know why, but I find it very infuriatingly difficult to use it well. But yeah, I also haven't been practicing it the most. I really should do more of that. Anyway, it is really, really good because it's extremely high damage without, well, I wouldn't say extremely high damage, but it's pretty high damage without requiring a lock-on, like Helix Rack does. Against players, it's actually much better against players than it is against bots. And that's why I put Cryo in B, is because the only benefit to this, it loses damage, right? The only benefit to it is that it gains a stasis effect, which, I'll be honest, players stay in one spot a whole lot more than bots do, so this is more so just going to be effective against bots. So, like, of the two barrage weapons, this one's going to be better against players, this one's better against bots, but there's plenty of other weapons you can use against bots, which is why I put this one in B and this one in A. Plasma Cannon. is not good. I'm gonna put it below autocannon, because you may as well just completely pass it up and get pulse cannon instead. That's the way I see it. Like, you kind of don't even have to bother. Pulse cannon. I mean, solid C, probably below fusion cannon, just because, you know, when you start the game, probably like 1 to 2,000 squad power, you probably will have a pulse cannon built in, and it will do some decent damage for you. It'll actually work fairly well, so it's worth getting, but I wouldn't upgrade it for any reason. Quantum Gun. He's pretty bad. In fact, because of its price, I would say it's probably worse than Gauss Rifle, which is sad. But like, it doesn't do good damage. The Gauss Rifle is at least really, you know, pretty good when you get it. The Quantum Gun is, to my knowledge, not. And I think both are outperformed by Long Arm, not necessarily in damage, but just in the capacity for the burst damage. So like, this deals more damage in a single shot, whereas this one requires you to be out in the open firing 12 shots in a row just to empty the mag, which is weird and annoying. Railgun. Obviously S. Better than EM Rifle. It is less annoying. Like, EM Rifle's more annoying, but Railgun's definitely more OP just in general, because the bulk of your engagements, the bulk of your firefights are going to be happening at like 100 meters or less, and this can do some extremely heavy damage in a single hit up close, which makes them better than most close quarters weapons, which is stupid, by the way. I don't think any sniper should deal full damage at close range, but, you know, here we are. Except for maybe something like this, where it's like an auto sniper, and it would require time to deal its damage anyway. But yes, there is that. Repeater is interesting, because I'm told that it's bugged. So I don't want to say that it's like a straight F. I would, because it's really bad right now. But as far as I'm aware, there is a bug with its loading mechanism, and it should be almost 50% more effective than it currently is, which is huge, right? That would make it go from being like F to S. Like, it would actually be better than Ember Gun. So I'm going to call it an A above the Javelins, just for the sake of argument. I'm going to put it there. I still think it is a little bit weird, the recharge and the fire rate. You run out of ammo very, very quickly. The reload's incredibly fast, though, so I don't know. I'd have to use it when, you know, it's actually performing better than it is currently. But yeah, as of the time that this video is uploaded, that weapon is incredibly awful. So just keep that in mind. Rocket Mortar. Normally it would be like an S. I'm actually going to put it A, and I'm actually going to put it below Nade Launcher. And honestly, I'm going to put it below Arc Turn as well. Probably above Disruptor though. And the reason is because there's a lot more guided weapons floating around now, and you got like the Nade Launcher, you got Helix Rack, you got Disc Launcher spam for literal days. So this thing specifically, along with like a lot of mechs that have a lot of meta mechs have like a lot of HP or stealth, or Aegis is like the most broken thing in the game right now. So yeah, you're not gonna get too far with Rocket Mortar most of the time. But it is still very powerful, especially with the right implant. You need the legendary Radius implant. RPG. Honestly, though, I'd probably put it here, because it does deal some decent damage. And yeah, so like, buy the 6s if you're first starting the game. You buy the 6, you can maybe upgrade it a rank or something. It's got some pretty good damage. So like, it's worth buying, but it's not necessarily worth upgrading. I don't necessarily want to put it in B, though. Actually, I might put these in B, and then leave these in C. Like that. So these are the ones that are like, yeah, it's worth buying. These are the ones where it's like, it's not really worth buying, but you can if you want to. Type of situation. Shotgun. Definitely worth buying. Definitely better than probably all 3 of these. Pretty good. I mean, just as a close quarters weapon, it's going to be the heaviest hitting weapon that you have for a little while until you get Arc Torn or Frags. So, yeah. It's pretty good. Definitely worth buying. And, probably worth upgrading at least to, like, level 7 or something at rank 2. Stasis Beam. D. Which is, it's really sad. I like my beams. But, yeah. D being, like, not worth buying. F being, like, by no means should you be buying this thing. Actually, I'll do this. Autocannons in F simply because you get the 4s for free. And the 4s are decent, but the 2s aren't. So, like, there's no amount of investment or purchasing that you should be doing with autocannon. So yeah, I'm gonna put these like this. Very sad. Stormrack. Definitely S. Definitely. Honestly, like myself personally, I would even probably put this above Minigun, but below Ember Gun. Not very many people use it, and when they do, I feel like maybe they don't use it on the right things. But this weapon's pretty insane, honestly. It's not that much better than Missile Rack, and once again, it's worse in some ways because it takes longer to unload its rockets. So in that regard, Missile Rack is still better on a mech like Onyx, if you have it like at 24 energy, or if a Stormrack 16 existed. But yeah, on a mech like Onyx, I would still recommend Missile Rack over Stormrack, because a 16 or a 12 at lower rank, it's still enough to kill pretty much anything in a single salvo anyway. A storm, like getting more damage from Stormrack is kind of overkill and unnecessary. So yeah, but that's just like one of the few places that Missile Rack's better. Overall, Stormrack is the better weapon for sure. Just before I get to Thermal Lance, another thing to note though is that this thing's reload is longer than Missile Rack's. So unless you get the legendary reload implant, which is probably not something that most people are going to get unless they spend money. So yeah, there's that too. Thermolance. I mean, I guess it's probably more worth. I guess it's not great, but it's like, I guess you could buy it. There's kind of no reason not to, but there's no reason to. So I'm going to put it in the front of C. Voltaic. People very much enjoy calling this weapon garbage, but I feel like it's actually not that bad. I'm going to put it above shotgun, but below cryo. So it's a fairly linear little path here, but that should be more or less expected. But yeah, so this would be my official ranking. Let me know what you would do differently. Certainly there will be some people who take personal offense to where I placed probably Arctorrent specifically. I'm going to get at least one comment about the Arctorrent. And yeah, feel free to make one yourself. I'm not necessarily going to change my list, but still, you can tell me your thoughts, because I'm not unreasonable. You know, I can see things from other perspectives. I changed my mind on a few placements in the Mech tier list after some comments as well. So yeah, just try to keep it decently, mildly respectful. Other than that, feel free to make a list yourself with the link in the description. This is a tier list that I made myself with images that you are not allowed to have. And yeah, if you make a video, feel free to like tag me in it or share it in my Discord server, also linked in the description. I mean, I'll watch it if you tag me, honestly. I don't see any reason why not. Otherwise, I appreciate y'all for watching. Take care.